This is the first time I'm participating in the First Take program. I think it's an interesting thing to ask regarding, how one would, especially an artist, navigate in this time, especially the social media and so many other, it's actually filled with visual culture abundantly at this time. So the genuinity and originality which we always talk about is a very tough task to think even what it is, because there is nothing as such original, it's always been taken and reused over a period of time, time eternity. So what exactly we would think about originality is always a question. And I think there are few keywords. One is that you kind of, where exactly you belong to, and how kind of you are connected to that particular geographical location, which that actually brings anything to you. That could be one option to find out, what originality is. Another thing is that how do you interact with the outside world? Because an artist will always have a persona of a personalized narration of being alone or being lonely and being, one's own, space. So one would actually break it into see what is happening around and the social spaces in which, how you interact and respond, how much that is kind of, influencing you, how much that is that you are taking and you are also giving it back. So one criteria could be that, what is that reflection mode you use in terms of looking at the society. And the third thing would be about, how open you are in terms of understanding and accepting the world outside. Because you also have to know that time is ever changing. And at times you don't feel like, you can cope up with it anymore because changes are so fast. So because these are the real-time challenges one would face as an artist. So then in order to, looking around to see, what is the current, what is the trend, how you go about, instead of making these kind of small kind of capsules of that, how you survive, you will probably have to go back more into the details of where you are from and how much you are kind of taken influences and inspirations in order to go forward with that in your mind. So I think this is it's not an easy task, but there is no easy task to the way quote unquote genuinity when we talk about it. So because genuinity is actually it's a kind of constructed word, and genuine is actually always comes with what kind of intentions you have and how far you will be working on something which is you are really passionate about, and how much deeper you can go with that. So that would actually one way of understanding what genuinity is. So these are the things which I think generally one would think about when you actually seriously involved in artistic practices. I think that would be one criteria, I would say. I think from the visual art perspective, I think there's a serious challenge is that, because we always say that, we have to articulate, in the sense you have to verbally articulate what you're doing. And my kind of experience and also observation has always been how you can cut the language barrier and see and whether people would be able to communicate what you are trying to share with them, instead of any mediator or interpreter in between. So that's a visual art challenge, I would say, because we always ask for a validity by a literary person, saying that you must analyze my work and you must criticize it, you must talk about it. And this talking part has become too much in one sense, and we somehow lose the way in which the feel of the visual quality which we have been trying to achieve through our work. This is not one or 2 days of initiative. It's like you're putting your whole life into it. And then again, you have to have someone to interpret it in a different language. It's a task. It's actually a contradiction to itself. I think that's a real task for a visual artist. Always get into challenge, and one would actually always try to unravel how you can do it without any mediation, and how can you communicate without any mediation with whatever you are actually creating a language. Where is that language goes if someone else coming to interpret what you're trying to say. So I think it's a task, it's not an easy task, but someone would actually focus on that, because it is very easy to adapt someone else's language. It is very tough to create your own language. and that struggle will remain throughout. So there is a space in between. You have to find your own way of, continuing with it. No, I mean, it's all, I would say it's all becoming. It has never been an arrived stage for anyone, because as I earlier said it, that, I was looking at my own surroundings and wherever I went, and, then if you leave from your own place and you migrate to some other places, there also you carry certain things. Then you kind of try to expand and try to equate, try to kind of compare. There is so much happens in your head. So and I think the earlier days it were not that consciously one would be thinking that, I am going out and I will become something and come back. So these days things have changed a lot. And there is a lot of, maybe compared to 20 years ago, to 30 years ago, there is a lot more opportunities in different sections of the visual art itself that, you could actually apply at least. There is an application procedure you can follow. Then there was a time there was only Lalit Kala Academy and one human resource scholarship. There was nothing else. And one LINLAC scholarship. This was the only thing, back in 25 years ago. So I think the avenues are opened much more larger, and your connectivity towards the world where like-minded people are working is also increased. So in one sense, you can actually, without much trouble, you can actually travel abroad and you can see what's happening in the other part of the world. And there are also more people are coming from other countries they are more curious to know what's happening in this part of the world. So all that actually opens up a lot than the 25, 30 years ago. So I think the students or the people, those who are seriously looking for art as a career would actually kind of explore these avenues, but in their own terms. I don't think it should be influenced by a particular figure in mind and say that, I have to be like him or her. So that might actually derail the kind of understanding. And it will always have to have, because art is a very self-expression and self-thought process at the same time, even though it's a professional course, it has to have something to do with your own self. So if you leave that self aside and trying to figure out something outside of yourself, then you might be in a very different track.